They say walk in your truth and not in your shadows. They also tell you you're too much, making you feel like a burden, but they always want you to speak up for what isn't spoken. Unspoken truth, hiding behind an unspoken poet, unspoken stories, never get told by unspoken words.
Yo, what's good? It's your girl, Becky the Poet here. Welcome to the Unspoken Words Podcast. We're at episode 104. You guys, we had Bianca Phipps. We had Crush in the previous episode. Today, we have another Dallas poet out here. Dallas poet, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yo, what's going on? This is Wayne Henry.
So, Wayne.
Go
right.
Et cetera. You know, that's about it.
So, I know you out here doing some virtual stuff. I know I just saw you recently did a virtual interview with Chibi. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So how are you liking this virtual world so far?
It's accessible. It's easy to do. I could do multiple shows in one day, so that makes it fun and, get to the money faster, get to touch more platforms. The tough part is not feeling the crowd's energy.
Right.
As a performance poet, we feed off that energy. So to do it without it, it's you have to be your own hype man doing your poems. I think it's a great confidence booster. But yeah, it has its pros and cons, but I'm here for it.
Before we get further into this episode, do you have a little short piece for us, for our listeners to listen to, just give a little taste of who you are?
Okay. I do some new shit.
Love the new shit.
Let's see. There are patterns which emerge in our life, circling and returning anew, an endless variation of a theme. When I was 6, I hated playing on monkey bars and merry-go-rounds. See, merry-go-rounds triggered my lingophobia, my fear of dizziness, and the monkey bars didn't make much sense to hold on so tight to something that causes calluses, blisters, and on hot days, damn near third-degree burns, my own blood on my hands. But if I let go, the pain would slip through my fingers. The playground to me was a spinning deathbed. I learned fast to never hold on to what hurts me. To let go, I learned to let go. Life brings you full circle. Pay attention, there's a lesson here. There are patterns which emerge in our life, circling and returning anew, an endless variation of a theme. I was 16, caught in the aftermath of a drive-by shooting. A bullet lodged in the clavicle of my best friend. I just wanted to stop the bleeding, so I grabbed onto his collarbone. The block spun like a merry-go-round. His blood on my hands, knowing if I let go, his life would slip through my fingers. His body was a spinning death. I learned fast to never let go when someone you see is hurting. Never let go. I learned to never let go when life brings you full circle. Pay attention, there's a lesson here. There are patterns which emerge in our life, circling and returning anew, an endless variation of a theme. I was 26. I fell in love with the woman. She said my heart was a playground in the aftermath of a drive-by. I guess my grip was too tight. I held her like a bleeding clavicle. She must have had monkey bars for bones of my emotions, have a habit of merry-go-rounding out with control, so I had to let go, but I have a hard time releasing hemorrhages. I didn't want to see myself bleed out. I never learned to let go in fear of hurting myself, because there are patterns which emerge in our life, circling and returning anew, an endless variation of a theme, how childhood trauma, a bleeding clavicle, and the love of my life can become synonyms based on how you hold them. When life brings you full circle, pay attention. There's a lesson here. Letting go does not mean you don't care about someone or something anymore. Just realizing that you are the only person you truly have control over. Learning the patterns, reshaping your thinking, learning that holding on is a form of greed. And when greed replaces the patterns, you become an ill-suited God. Then life becomes a loop teaching you the same pain you refused to learn the first time. Then shall we know that man has come full circle. Merry-go-round back to where his origins in life has stemmed from. Letting go, holding on, moving on, releasing that which is hurting you. Pay attention. There was a lesson here. That's that piece.
Wow. I like it. I like it a lot. Very relatable on the monkey bars and the merry-go-round, to be honest. Those were days where I thought my hands were going to be like horrible.
Yo, it gets real.
I love how you compare that to life and love. I think that's one thing I love about poetry. You know, there's certain things that we didn't really realize that we could compare life to. You know, in a recent episode, I was comparing time to money, which is very interesting, you know. So I would say as poets, we're great at taking things and turning them into metaphors.
Yeah, I think that's literally our only job, is to make something out of something, you know.
Right. So before we get further into this episode, I want to ask you, how are you doing today, this month, this year, and this week?
I'm doing fantastic, man. With all things considered, the pandemic and the snowstorm and all of that, like, afterwards, I counted my blessings. My kids are alive, they're safe, they're full, there's a roof over my head, so I can't really complain. So I'm in very good spirits.
That's really good. And I love the positive outlook on life, just because many things have happened. And I think, honestly, many things will continue to happen. It's just depending on what your perspective is and how you look at it. And kind of just what you take from everything that's a struggle.
True.
So before we get more deeper into this episode, I want you to go ahead and think of your positive affirmation for my listeners, for yourself. So for this week, my positive affirmation is, my positive affirmation is, I am a money-making machine. That's all I got, you guys. I am a money-making machine. So, Wayne, go ahead and give us your positive affirmation.
I would not surrender to fear.
I like that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tap into that. Why did you choose that to be your positive affirmation?
It's a reminder. Most things that we don't do in life is a lot of times out of fear, whether it be a financial backlash or you're uncertain in your abilities. I feel like once you say fuck it and like put fear to the side and go in, I think you got a high success rate, like, when you go in. Or if you have to, I heard somebody say, do it scared. Like, do it scared if you have to. So.
Sometimes when you do things out of fear, you kind of like do it with a different mindset. Like, you kind of just know, like, it's kind of like jumping off a cliff. Like, you know, you're scared as hell, but you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyways. And then you just thrust yourself out there and you land perfectly fine. You're like, oh wow, I didn't think that was so bad.
That's because the instincts take over, right? So whether it's a business venture or starting something that you never did before, when you do it and that you let those instincts kick in, it like pretty much the bike is, it just works. It just works. When it's right for you and something that you're supposed to do, your instincts will never lead you wrong.
True. So I spoke with you outside of this recording, and you mentioned longevity of your craft. Now, that's very interesting to me, just because I know people who have taken this poetry as a career and is continually, taking it onwards. And I know because of the, what I called it, a panini, a Pangea, what else is there? This parallelogram that we're in. I feel as though poetry has taken things to a standstill as well too. Some people have probably had to get jobs because the tour life isn't the same anymore. So I know you said your longevity of your craft. What are you doing right now to keep that going and to keep that fire burning during this time?
Taking a break. I went hard for at least 4.5, 5 years every single day, writing. And what the pandemic taught me in terms of longevity is learning to take a break, to charge up your batteries. I was writing on fumes. And what I hadn't noticed is I missed out on a lot of experiences because my head was down on my notebook and I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on.
Right.
But from that reflection, I looked back and saw I found more things to write about.
Right.
And it was current, and it was relevant. So that's why I am with it.
I will say that's a very good lesson, because I would say taking a break. When the beginning of this pandemic, I spoke about how for the first 2 weeks that this all happened, everything shut down. I took 2 weeks of doing nothing. Nothing to me is feeling it kind of makes me feel like depressed, sad, because I'm like, why am I not doing something? But for a person who's constantly moving, it was needed. I think a lot of us have learned through watching others, like celebrities or even other poets who have made this a career, to just take a break sometimes to rejuvenate, like you said. And also part of it is to refill our brain for more creative wordplay, words, experiences.
Yeah. And I got to that point too, like when the pandemic first started, like I said, those first 2 weeks for me was like the first month. I was just sitting around the house like, what the fuck do I do with my life? You know, right. And I'm a full-time poet.
Right.
This is what I do for a living. So it's
right.
like coming up with different game plans and strategies to maneuver through what I love to do, but also still pay my bills. And dead end after dead end, plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, just falling through completely. And that's when it was like, I almost got a 9-to-5, man. I've had one 9-to-5 my entire life.
Right.
And lo and behold, right before I went in for the interview. No, I went to the interview, got the job.
Yeah.
Right before I went into the job, I got an email on some different online workshops I could do month to month or week to week. And I was like, thank you, Jesus, because I could not do a 9-to-5. I'm not built for that.
I mean, there's poets who just need to be doing poet things, you know. I know a lot of poets right now have tapped into doing workshops. I've participated in one with Ebony Stewart. Did not participate very well, I will tell you that. But I will say I paid for the class, but I did not go every week or every day or whatever. But I will say I supported her, so that's all that matters. But I will say a lot of poets have tapped into workshops. A lot of poets have tapped into doing Zoom meetings, but also like instead of asking for payment, they've been taking donations, you know? I've seen a lot of poets create a Patreon now to give extra content, just to find a way. I just recently was on social media and saw that Asia Sampson, who is starting to now do college tours again.
He's the blueprint. Asia Sampson is the blueprint. That's the homie. Shout out Asia. He's the blueprint on how to make a great career out of poetry.
He's actually running a workshop right now. I might even spend some money on. I'm just kidding. We'll see. But I've been talking to him, and I didn't realize that he was he does media stuff way before he was a poet. So that's why his video skills and all his other stuff, they're like really
off the charts. It's off the charts. He even stitches like leather. He made you know how you have like police.
Yes. I ordered a wallet from him.
Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. He's a man of many talents.
Definitely. So with you, Wayne, I know you got a lot of stuff planned. Now you have to create a new playbook for the upcoming year, just to adjust to this parallelogram, to adjust to the virtual world of everything. Besides virtual, are you getting slowly back into live performances?
I am. As the world starts opening back up and the venues are getting crowds again, my demand is getting back up there. So I'm getting like emails and messages asking if I can come out and feature. And I'm all for it as long as the venue is safe and it's not like elbow to elbow, 30 people in a fucking small ass room, you know? So it's all about safety still.
Yeah.
But the shows are coming in. I just came back from Oklahoma, did a few shows out there. And it was beautiful. It felt good. I hadn't been on stage since
So long.
October, November of last year, and I've
Yeah.
been losing my mind. And the guy paid me to do 3 poems, and I was like, "Yo, how much time do I got?" And he was like, "You got 3 poems?" And I'm like, "No, I really want to snap right now." So I went up and I did like 9 poems, back to back to back, no talking in between, just straight work.
Wow.
And it felt amazing. Like that release was just insane.
Would you say the stage is your sanctuary?
It is. It is. My demons follow me everywhere but on that stage. My depression goes everywhere but on that stage. Worries, regrets. When I'm on that stage, man, I'm invincible.
You know, I ain't want to bring this up, but talking to you reminds me of when I spoke with Rage in my previous past interview, and I know, you guys were really close, but I really see a lot of him in you too. I feel like you guys been, together tight for a minute. So I really appreciate your mentality. I really appreciate how much you really care about poetry and sharing it with other people, and that you made it a continuous career for yourself, right? Even though you wanted to give in to that 9 to 5, you still continue to push on for this. I will
say Rage is a big part of that. He was one of my mentees, my brother.
Yeah.
And he always kept me focused, always helped me look at the world through a different lens. Whenever I was looking at the picture, he never tried to change my mind, never said I was right or was wrong, but just gave me different things to look at.
Yeah.
And now it's really hard for me to have a bad day because of that, man. It's really hard for me to have a bad day. If it gets too hard to just take a shot at something and be all right.
Yeah, I'll tell you that. I remember sitting in sitting in a car at Rage, and I'm driving him to Big Thoughts, and he Ubered here, so he's never seen my driving before. And I was like, "Whoop, we're gonna die right now, we're gonna die." And he's just like, "Whoop, if it's time, it's time."
Yo, that man is insane. What's insane?
But so for anybody who is still continue to, I just talked to Crush, and she was giving some great tips on how to be a national ranked poet. Now that you are a full-time poet and nothing else comes in between you and poetry right now, what would 3 advice you would give to somebody who is wanting to become a full-time poet, but is kind of still hesitant at that 9 to 5?
Be fearless, set your price, and stay true to your craft.
Wow. That second part is very difficult, I'll tell you that. When it comes down to poetry, a lot of people get really stuck on how should I price my performance, my words, or even my products. How do you price your performing somewhere, your merch or anything?
I watched the veterans before me do it. They were doing books for $5, $8 chapbooks, whatever. And I made my own chapbooks. All my chapbooks I make them by hand.
Wow.
So when I'm in regular cities, I sell them for 10. But when I'm in New York and LA, they go for 20. I take into account how much it costs me to make it, how much I want to make profit from it. That's the business side of it. Just making sure that money is returned at least 3 or 4 times in what you spent on it, and
right.
not wavering, not letting people try to, what is that word? Try to
bargain with you.
Yeah, I don't bargain with my shit. Nah, bro. What if I get this shirt that's 20 and this book? Can I get both of them for 20? No, you can get them for 30. You don't go in Walmart and do that.
I like how you stick with that.
Yeah, you got to, man. Because I've seen poets. When I first started getting paid to do shows, I was getting paid peanuts. And I didn't know how to voice it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I legit did a show that was you can come. My first feature was yeah, you can come. We'll pay you in food and drinks when you get here. And I was excited, but then I look around, it's 80 people here. And I'm like, nah, this is fucking bullshit. Everybody paid $25 to get in here,
Yeah.
So Like even it's really tough for me to go to an open mic because it's like, even though I love the craft, this is what I do. If I go to an open mic, it's got to be an amazing fucking day for me to get up there and do a home for free, man. Like, not to say like, oh, my shit has to be paid for. It's that great. No, it is. No, what that isn't. I've worked really hard on this shit. You're not getting it for free, right?
I actually like that because I think part of being a business person in general, you have to kind of stick to your price. I will say I am a victim of not doing that, and then hearing from other entrepreneurs and like people in the same line like that I'm in. It's amazing how you can just say like, I'm worth this much, you know?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, people will buy it if they really like it, right? You don't have to explain to anybody why that price is that price. So I understand that all the way of how you feel.
But then also how we view it, it also affects our industry, the poets within it. So if I say my price is $400, right?
Right.
And they know they can go to poet B or poet C and feature them for 25 to 75.
Or for
free. And so it's like, right, so it's like we have to, as artists, we have to stand together, and it's like, no, you have to fucking pay us because it's that easy. I'll tell a lesson Rage taught me. A guy reached out to Rage to do a show, and Rage gave him a price, and then the guy reached out to me, and I was like, I'll do it for this amount. Rage called me the next day, pissed, like, if I set the price, motherfucker, you stick with the price, like, you're messing up our money. And it took me like a few days, like, thinking about it. I'm like, yo, he's right. Like,
yeah.
If I'm lowering my price, how can I expect anybody else to raise theirs? So
that's true. I like that. You should put that on a shirt.
I might.
Wayne, so before we end off with anything, where can they support you by buying your merch, or if you have any books? When's your next event in April? It is National Poetry Month in April, so support your poets. But where can they support you if they they like your shit? So where can they get it from?
Right now, my website is down. But what they can do is reach out to me on Instagram. My IG name is dreadful_poet. Any inquiries they have on merchandise like t-shirts, books, shoot me a message and I'll give you the details of what I have going on. And also that's where you can follow where my next show is through my IG stories. I try to do at least 2 shows a week. That's my goal now during the pandemic, is at least 2 shows. So if you go to my page, you'll see something that I have going the next few weeks or days.
Sounds good. Before we end off this episode, I love to end off on a positive note. It could be a joke, it could be a quote, it could be people love to give dad jokes. So whatever you got as funny, happy, joyful, not sad, go ahead and give it to us to end off the episode.
I'm gonna give you a joke my daughter just told me like literally an hour ago. Knock knock.
Who's there?
No. Why did the chicken cross the road?
I don't know.
To get to the dumb's house. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Me, the chicken.
I'm the dummy then.
Yeah.
Wait, am I the dummy or you're the dummy?
You're the dummy. The person answered the door.
Oh, yes. All right, we're going to end off there because now I feel played by Luke. But Wayne, thank you so much for everything. We will put your Instagram somewhere, the link. I'll put a link for anything you need. Go ahead, give everybody who's watching, like this is a live audience, it's not a live audience. But if you're listening, like, share, subscribe, follow Dreadful Poet on Instagram. If you need anything from him, pay him because he'll help you. You guys have a great day. Happy National Poetry Month. Peace out.